Well, hello, everyone. We are back again. I am Uncle Rob, and Uncle Rhino is, I don't know if this dude's ever going home, but this guy is on the road again in Oklahoma. And Uncle Rhino, you having a good day, man?
I'm having a good day. Every day is a good day that we get to jump on the Uncle Show.
Absolutely. And speaking of the Uncle Show, we've got a guest with us today. He is a record producer. He is a songwriter that I just picked up on here a few seconds ago. And he is in Bloomington, Illinois, a place called Eclipse Studios. Mr. Erik Nelson. How are you, Erik?
Great. How you doing?
Doing pretty good. Tell us a little bit about Erik and what do you do over in Bloomington?
Well, I've got a studio facility here that I kind of do every conceivable genre of music. But a lot of times I'm working with singer-songwriters, and I'm putting together the music for them from scratch, where I'll play all the instruments. A lot of times with them sitting right here, so that they can, which I prefer. I prefer to work with the artist so that it's not just kind of like, oh, surprise, here's your music. It's more like, hey, I'm going to try this. Check it out. What do you think? And that way they can let me know right away throughout the whole process what they like and what they don't like. So we're working on it in a very collaborative sense. And if they have any ideas of their own that they want to throw in, even on the music side, of course, I try to be open to everything, and because my philosophy is that in this age of AI and everything else, authenticity is so important. And I don't think an artist I think the audience is extremely sensitive to inauthenticity. They're used to it. Everybody's lying to them all the time and everything's fake. So when an artist is pushing their music, is promoting their music, the audience can sense right away if the artist isn't really 100% behind that. So my job is to not only produce these songs and give them as much life and vitality and a vehicle for the actual lyric and everything else, but my other goal is to make sure that the artist can stand behind these songs 150%, because even in their eyes, if they're online doing shorts, promoting the song, check out my latest song. If they don't really believe that they like, if they don't like the song, and I've run into plenty of artists that have recorded at places where they're like, I wasn't really, really happy with the way it turned out, and they just kind of went and did it, and nobody asked me my opinion, or it was ignored. That artist, the audience is going to see it in their eyes and hear it in their voice that they don't truly believe in that song or the way it was produced or the way it's coming across. So my goal is always to make sure the artist is as excited about the song as I am, and that way they can promote it, perform it, and everything with just their hearts 100% behind it. And I think the audience feels that.
So let's just say I write songs, but I don't sing. I don't know how to sing or anything. I got 50 songs. I'm like, hey, I'm going to go see Erik. I'm going to bring this one to him. Can you come up with something with just the lyrics? Do you have your service? Do you have, like, if I want a female artist to be singing that, do you have a female artist that can come in and do that? A male artist or what have you?
I do. I don't have a huge stable of singers around here because I am kind of out in the cornfield, but I've got some good singers. Yes, I can do everything from scratch for you. So you come in, you've just got a lyric. In fact, Brian Schartzer, one of the artists, that Beverly works with, um, he typically just comes in with lyrics, and I'll come up with the vocal melodies and then all the music. Now he comes up with some really cool lyrics, and then we'll hone those together and work on them together and make sure everything makes sense and it's furthering the story of the song and all that. But that's kind of a case similar to what you're talking about. He doesn't usually come in singing it. He usually comes in he's got a notebook and he writes these lyrics, and then we just work the melodies together and stuff from there. So yeah, it can go. It can really be anything. I've got people that come in with fully written songs. They play guitar, and they'll just sit down, perform the song for me, and sing it. I'll figure out the tempo and the key. We make sure it's the right key and the right tempo for them. I might make suggestions on that. But then we just produce it from there. I may play the guitar if they're not a real confident guitar player. If they're really good and they're getting the song across and we want to use acoustic guitar or whatever they're playing in the song or piano or whatever, then fine. It's definitely all on a case-by-case basis. But yes, people can walk in whatever stage they're at, whether they're a really experienced performer or whether they just wrote some lyrics and don't know what to do next. They can walk in and I'll steer the bus for them.
So that, and the point of me asking you that is, I want folks that are in that area. If you're discouraged or you have no idea where to turn, you can turn to Erik. He can set your project up. Now, does it depend whether I wanted a bluesy sound, a southern rock sound, or a pop or country? I mean, you can adapt to all of it.
I can actually. I'm working with a couple pop artists right now. I do a lot of country, singer-songwriter, kind of indie rock type stuff. I've got some projects like that. I'm really kind of comfortable in all those genres because I work with them all the time, and I just love music. I just love a good song. So, yeah. So they can be whatever genre, and sometimes we'll use reference tracks. If some artists will come in, they'll say, "Well, there's this song by so and so. I kind of want to capture that vibe," and there's nothing wrong with that. Maybe I'll load up that reference into our session, and we'll just kind of occasionally refer to it as maybe for instrumentation or just overall vibe, things like that too. So to make sure it gives us a little direction right off the bat. But either way, you could walk in with pretty much nothing, and we'll figure it out from there.
How long you been doing this?
I've been doing it professionally. My first studio I opened in August of '94. So it's been a little while.
You're looking at 32 years almost.
Yeah.
As a composer, when you have other people, chasing your vibe and that's like the ultimate props to somebody. Is when you have someone, they're not necessarily, which we have people out there that try to rip off, that Stardust and co-op it. There are people out there that do that, but the real ones, they don't try to rip it off. And for the listeners, you need to understand the difference. You be respectful to other people's work while you admire it. You can go, if you truly learn about what made that piece of work so magical, it's okay to go back to the same well and pull more water from the same well, but don't try to rip off somebody else's bucket.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah. When we do use references, it's not okay. We're going to copy their exact chord progression, their tempo, and their key, and yeah. It's more like, oh, I just like what they did with the instrumentation here, how this features the vocal. They did an interesting breakdown here. Maybe we could try something like that. So it's a great, like you said, a great well to draw from. When somebody does amazing work, it definitely does kind of create this well of ideas that we can all borrow from, because music it's sort of like this enormous collaboration between all the musicians of the world, and so I like to even bring in things from different genres a little bit, things that are inspired by different genres. I'm more of a rock and country and blues guy, you know, as far as my roots, but I do hip hop clients and stuff as well. But I'll do things where if I'm dropping the beat, I kind of drop it like a drummer would in a rock band, the way I do the accents and stuff like that, and it seems to work. Yeah, I like kind of blending genres and and just trying to keep. I think it's just so important to keep the listener engaged at all times. So I call them, I won't curse on the show, but F yeah moments.
Yeah.
Those moments where you're like, yeah, that was awesome. What did they do there? That was so cool. I want to have those, or you can call them tent poles. You know, you got your song, you've got certain points that, you know, that really grab you, and then there might be a little bit of a lull, and then, oh, we'll grab you again with this. And so I think it's very important to have those moments throughout a song that you know, are kind of cornerstones of the song. Otherwise, you got this.
Yeah.
You know, like the song, it has to take you on a journey. If it doesn't take you on a journey,
What's the point?
Yeah, what's the point? If it doesn't emotionally take you somewhere, and you know, there's just no point at all, and people will lose interest quickly. So
Have you had any chance of collaborating with musicians who have moved on to the next level and made major record deals?
yes, yes. Although honestly, I've had more. Let's see. Well, actually, that's a good question. I've worked with major label artists. I've worked with artists like Boys to Men, and a lot of them are R&B pop artists from the early 2000s. But I don't know that I've worked with someone here that has gone on to get a major label deal. But that's only because they've turned them down. Like I've got a rap artist who's independent, turned down all the major labels about 10 years ago. Because the major labels are pretty awful, and they actually have no idea how to break an artist now anyway.
Yep.
The independent labels and the stuff like Beverly's doing and the stuff that you guys are doing, I just feel is more effective. It's more authentic. I've got another artist who right now is doing great, and he does really, he blew up on TikTok doing 90s rock covers, doing like Alice in Chains songs and stuff like that. He's got a really cool, soulful voice and just playing acoustic guitar and singing. But he does originals here that I produce and work on with him, and occasionally co-write with him. But he blew up just by posting these TikTok videos, and blew up to the point where he's getting flown all over the country, and he's performing on private islands and all kinds of stuff like that, and making really good money. But like most artists, in between, he might be playing on a Saturday at a local bar, because ultimately, as a musician, you just got to play. You just got to do the work. And then they're not all gigs for 35,000 people. You know, yeah. A lot of these gigs are for 5 people, and that's just the way it goes. And you can find the biggest artists in the world. You can find a picture of them playing for 5 people somewhere, including the Beatles. But
we had a girl a while back who is now opening for Dwight Yoakam on his current little stretch of his tour.
Awesome.
She told us she would play for the bartender. There was nobody there, but she was getting paid to be there, so she played for the bartender. I was like, I mean, I would say that would be kind of crazy, but you know, like I said, now she's on a Dwight Yoakam tour right now, so that kind of payback comes back around.
Yes, absolutely. And I always tell performers. In fact, there was a guy I knew who was an amazing performer and entertainer, and he just did solo guitar and vocal, and he did that his whole life. He played in the Keys at a bunch of places every year. He'd be there. He had a house in the Keys and a house here in Illinois, and he would split his year in half and just played for a living. And I asked him, he was in here had some old originals that we were just getting off cassette and put on a CD for him or something a few years ago. And I asked him because, I've played in cover bands where you're playing the same songs every night. And it can be sometimes tough to always get your, to be enthusiastic about songs you played
Well,
a
it's hard to
billion
be
times.
excited sometimes if you're playing
Right.
the same thing all the time.
Yeah. And he was playing a lot of Jimmy Buffett and stuff that people want to hear down there in the Keys. And I asked him, so how do you, so, oh, actually I said, hey, you play a lot of these songs a million times. Like, what's your favorite song to play? And he said, whatever song I'm playing. And I was
Well,
just like, that's why this guy has made a living his entire life and has a couple of houses, because he's all in on every song. Even just a solo guy playing, maybe at a restaurant or a bar in the Keys, you got to put yourself into it 100% of the time. And, it's like they say, if you wake up every day and walk out of the house smiling, it actually changes your body chemistry for that day. That attitude, just your body knows you're smiling. And
and
if some part of your brain says, I must be happy about something, and you'll be
that's
happier because of
that's
it. And
that's also the difference between the amateurs and the professionals. And
absolutely
the amateurs are playing what makes them happy. And they want to write songs about themselves, and they want to do, I've got to tell my story. No, you're supposed to tell their story, and you're supposed to do it
right.
with your words. And if you do that, then you'll get them. He had the perfect response with this, whatever song I'm playing, because it's not about what makes him excited. His excitement will come from making them excited. And so
Absolutely.
whichever song gets them excited becomes the thrill for him. As pros, we actually, at least for me, I have to live vicariously. So
Yeah.
I'm to that because I've done everything that I ever set out to do at least once, maybe 4 times. So you turn right around and you're like, okay, well, people are like, well, you got nominated for, I'm like, yay. Okay. I don't know what else to tell you. I mean, I don't mean to sound ungrateful. It's just like, just kind of, you've checked all those boxes. So the only thing that's going to make you excited now is the excitement of others, right? Those around
Right.
me who get excited. Then that makes me excited. Then it would be the same thing when you're performing. If you've already done that one song, no less than 80,000 times inside and out. I've kind of done that song to death, but I'm literally seeing the way that this mom who finally got a babysitter and she's able to be out there and let her hair, and she loves that song so much, and she's already, it's 8 o'clock and she's doing the drunk girl dance and she's having so much fun. Well, this at that point, bud, you just gotta lay it all on the field right there and start playing and
Absolutely.
give her
And
the time of her life.
absolutely. That's a great philosophy. And as a performer, I've always tried to adopt that as well. I haven't been playing as much live lately, but that's what I love about performing live. You just seeing people responding and loving it. I don't care what song I'm playing. I'm going to be enjoying myself because that's the magic. It's the sharing of this art, and the enjoyment, and it is amazing the energy an audience can give you, and that you can give back to it's this symbiotic relationship that's so powerful. And I like that whole whatever song I'm playing philosophy. I try to take that in the studio, of course, as well. What songs are your favorite to work on? Whatever song I'm working on, for this day we're working on this song. It's everything, that song. And the thing is, in the arts, you don't know what song is going to take off, or be big or be. So every song, you got to put your all into every song, because it could be just some song you think is, oh, yeah, it's just this silly little thing. I half-assed the mix on it. It's not going to go anywhere. Whatever. You don't ever want to have that attitude, because tomorrow it could be the biggest hit in the world. So every song has its place in the sun when we're working on it. It's got to be the focus to make the best it can possibly be.
The
I
best
mean,
version of what it's going to be. Yes, sir.
Right.
And I love it when people, to back to touching one more time on that deal about, the people getting excited. We used to have a thing in Abel Kane. We'd laugh because, you have all these people like we showed up, man, like the flock of crows. I mean, we were like the rock jam is fixing to happen.
Right.
And,
Right.
we'd show up and we looked like a rough motley crew for sure. And they would be like, oh, what's it like being such and such? And we'd say, well, when we really found our sound, when we really found our purpose, that's when we realized, we ended up with it, having to battle with addiction. And they were like, oh, yeah, it happens. Yeah, yeah. And said, yeah, we're addicted. All three of us have the same addiction. It's we're addicted to the feeling of giving them the feeling. And that's where we flipped the script on it. And that's what it was. It was, we're addicted to we work for the people. We're addicted to the feeling of giving them that feeling, And
Right.
when you can roll up and do it like that, we're addicted to making people scream. We're addicted to making them so happy and excited, you know.
that's got to be a
That's a
good
gift.
feeling, man. When you're the one that's responsible for that whole attitude of these folks they're just feeling good inside, and you're thinking to yourself, I was the one that produced that. I was the one that did that.
Right. Or if you're on stage actually performing it, or if you wrote it, or if you produced it, any of those things, it's an amazing feeling. And it's crazy. It's such like an endorphin rush or whatever, dopamine hit, whatever you want to call it, performing on stage and having the crowd. And we used to call it the bubble, when the band and the audience become one, and it's almost like it's almost like you're indistinguishable from the audience. It's like you're all in this together. And sometimes it's hard to get in that bubble. That bubble isn't always there easily. You've got to kind of capture this magic, lightning in a bottle type thing. But yeah, there's almost nothing like it. And I think that's one of the reasons that so many touring musicians have had problems with substances and stuff like that. Is that, boy, when you're touring, and I've only done a little bit of that. When you're touring, you're I don't mean the addictions. I mean only a little bit of touring, but like 22 hours out of the day, you're just hurry up and wait, and then you got a sound check at some point in the afternoon that breaks up your day so that you don't have a chance to do anything else, and then you're just sitting around backstage waiting for that moment. So I can see how, and it's hard. I'm kind of a type A person, so the times I did stuff like that, went on the road, trying to just kill the whole day. You got to try to not let the stage, that endorphin rush and that joy of being on stage lead to a horrible depression when you're not on stage.
It will once that runs its course. If you've hit the pro level as an indie artist, typically what you're going to probably do, let's say your day starts at 5 a.m. And you're rolling somewhere. You're either heading to an airport or you're heading to wherever the vehicles are, right? And you're going,
Yeah.
and you've got your team and you got your crew because you've reached the pro level. So you've got a sound crew, you've got a merch crew, and you've got the band, and any additional supportive, people you may have. So they may be a total of 10 people, and y'all are rolling out. So you take off and you go do that. You usually have stops for radio, so you're going to have to pop into a radio. So you're doing that, and then you're bouncing out. Somebody's also keeping track of all this. So you go and you do that, then you haul butt to the venue. You get there for a meet and greet. Then you pivot and do sound check, say it's somewhere between 1 p.m. and 3 o'clock. And then you get out of there. You typically have something else that you do that's broadcast related, either taping or another last minute, like live remote, trying to gin up, get more people. Then you're going to pivot, go and try to get cleaned up. It's going to be off site, so you've got to go to the hotel to do that. You get cleaned up. You got wheel call at, say, 5:30, 6 o'clock. Everybody's back down there ready to go. You come as an opener. You're going to come out. You're going to get ready. You're going to do your thing. Then after that, you can't disrupt the headliner. So after that, that's where you got to hang out and hold on. Then once that's done, everybody meets at the merch table, and that can last 4 to 5 hours, signing stuff for everyone, taking pictures with everyone, and then you're back in the ride and you're writing thank you notes to everybody who's pivotal to helping that be successful that you just wrapped. You're writing thank you cards, whatever it is that you're doing that's going to go to somebody old school. And then you finally get to sleep at 2 o'clock in the morning, and you got to turn right around and do the whole thing again.
Well, you were in a much more established. Yeah, I was with a singer-songwriter thing doing a little. So we didn't have all that media stuff going on. There wasn't a whole lot going on our days in between the gigs, and we didn't quite get to that level. But that sounds like a pretty packed schedule.
It's slammed. We had runs where in 26 days where I was in 47 cities. I mean, I was doing promos with radio stations and everything. So it's possible. One day I think we were on 5 airplanes. You just get stuff like that, and a lot of the indie artists don't realize it's one thing to be regional, but when you break out and you break out on the bigger level, most of the big events, they're going to set it up for you, but they're going to expect you to do press. And once you start getting to the point where you have people saying, I need you here for this, I need you doing liners over here, I need you over here taping for this. Oh, now we need you over here for this deal with People Magazine. We need somebody over here for this deal with Guitar Player or whatever. And you start getting those people jumping in and pulling on you, and all of a sudden you got to hire somebody just to pull back against the other people pulling, so you don't get pulled all to pieces. Yep.
Yeah.